All right, getting started right now in this one. Rainmaker Walleye Warehouse, game 1 of round 3 for Division 1 pools, the last one of this round right now. We've got Hitzel right there rocking another. This is the second NZAP 89 that we've seen today. Not a very traditional weapon, but teams seem to be bringing it out here. We've also got another non-traditional weapon rather in the Dually Squelchers. So let's see how Clockwork is able to start this one off.
Now, if I remember correctly, it's DJ who's been rocking Dually Squelchers, and he's been sort of one-tricking this weapon as of late. He's been showing a lot of proficiency with it, being able to assist his team, being able to assert control, and just having a wide view over the map. And with that said, Clockwork managing to take an initial lead with the Rainmaker just trying to push up, but Toximus is going to be locking down DJ.
Yeah, right now we do see them trying to get something going here. Hitzel is up on this top right area trying to lead the way for his team. Be a little bit sneaky about it, but it seems like the rest of his team was caught out. Ross is in a pretty bad position, although he did have the Bomb Rush to kind of defend himself for a bit. Is going to go down. Seems like Just for the Halibut was able to stop the push momentarily, but seems like Hitzel's trying to get something sneaky going. Not really working out, though.
Not going to be able to do anything, and the Rainmaker is going to find itself to reset. Mama now activating the Inkjet, trying to sort of establish some type of control over center stage, but as we quickly got a bit of a bird's eye view to the Ink coverage right now, it's very half and half. Clockwork and Just for the Halibut having their sides well established, but the missiles coming in, sort of getting a bit of a lead on the Ink, and look at that map. Things are looking very teal right now.
Yeah, the missiles right there definitely allowed Perps to move in with his splatter shot in the midst of that chaos. They got something going right there. Ross is trying to make something happen with that Rainmaker, but there we talked about it, the Stingray easily able to take you out, especially when you have to climb up on that uninkable area right there. So definitely the Stingray was well timed and able to end that really quickly. Let's see what Just for the Halibut has on the pushing side.
As they try to get past that center point, they have the Inkstorm bringing themselves. Page trying to press forward onto DJ, manages to get the spot. However, the missiles managed to pick them off, and they really didn't manage to push the Rainmaker that too far deep into enemy territory. Perp's going to be able to start the pop and manages to get it for Clockwork.
Yeah, so far back to a little bit of a neutral game, though, in favor of Clockwork for sure. They're finally pushing up onto that right side, but once again, another constrained area like this map is known for is going to stop that push right away. Putting in work with that Stinger right there. That's going to take down most of the members right there of Clockwork. Finally maybe able to get something going here. They've got most of center map control. They just need to get this push going quickly before they build specials on the other side.
We see Page already use the missiles, trying to get some sort of ink established. However, Clockwork responding with their own. We already have the Mess just blocking out a lot of Just for the Halibut's teams. They've got half their team splatted. Perps trying to move forward, take advantage of the situation with Ross. However, DJ in the mix is going to get splatted immediately. Perps has his splashdown ready to roll. If he manages to get forward, sort of push, draw the attention of Just for the Halibut.
Yeah, so far Perps is moving in on their spawns. This is going to allow them maybe to push it forward. They do have another Stingray, though, at the ready. There it's coming out, but Perps is going to try to take it down. He does, and that's going to allow the Stingray to move forward. This has been the biggest lead of the games for them so far, and it seems to be moving forward as they get a full wipe.
Look how deep he managed to go with that triple kill, being able to also pick off their Inkjet. Ink sitting on the podium. They are right there with the 11-point set right now. Even if they don't manage to cap at this point, this is a fantastic lead for them to have, and it looks like that's what they're going to have to settle for as the Rainmaker settles itself on inkable territory.
Yeah, and just because they got it to the 11-point mark, that's going to pretty much mean that Just for the Halibut has to get it pretty much right near the goal just to win the game, because we do know on this map to get up to the 10-point marker, you need to kind of step up onto that flat area. So definitely in a good position is Clockwork. Mamba tried to make something happen with that Inkjet. Did get one in, a little sound DG going down, but so far it doesn't seem like they've been able to move forward into the spawn area just yet.
With 1 minute and 15 and counting on the clock right now, this is a very all-or-nothing situation for Just for the Halibut. They need to press forward. They need to get that cap. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting with Clockwork taking that lead that they have into the victory of Game 1.
Yeah, right now, Jolts is trying to make something happen here, but gonna get taken down right away. Missiles coming out from the whole team. Ross as well finishing that one off right there, so definitely in a good position. Another nice kill from Ross right there with the direct of that Rapid Blaster. He's also got the Bomb Rush at the ready for the defense right here. Ross was the last line of defense. He's been the anchor for this team, and it's showing exactly why.
Manages to get a pick on Jolt right before getting picked off, and Perps just trying to hold the line. Looks like him and Hitzel are going to be able to get the pop. However, that's a lot of orange ink that's on there right now.
Yeah, a lot of orange ink right now. They definitely maintained a map control for this last minute, but just haven't been able to break the barrier that Clockwork's putting up in their spawn. Elhot is going to pick it up really quickly, but Right now, they've only got 15 seconds so far. Seems to be taking damage from all angles. The splashdowns coming in, gonna finish them off. Do they even have time to pop it again is the question. They've only got 2 members remaining. Probably not. This looks to be going in favor of Clockwork.
They have the pop. They've grabbed the Rainmaker, and that's going to be that for game 1.
Yeah, looking pretty strong right there. We did see Ross picking up the Rainmaker right there, squid bagging a little bit for good measure, having a little fun with it right there. They're happy with their game 1 victory right there. Haven't lost a set today, so looking pretty good as we get into the next one right here. It's going to be Tower Control Black Belly Skate Park.
Now, throughout the entirety of Game 1, things were very dynamic. It was just a lot of firefights, bodies dropping left and right. But overall, it seemed like Clockwork had the overall control of the map, because every time one of these battles broke out, they were in control of where it was taking place, whether or not it was the missiles pushing Just for the Halibut back, or the fact that they just couldn't get control over the map. And they were just sitting there defensively the entire time.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier. Just for the Halibut, they struggled up against Vote for 9 when they didn't take that initial lead. So definitely going into this next game, they've got to address that. They've got to come up with a better strategy that kind of for that mid-game scenario where it's kind of an even game. Because we saw, although that at the beginning of the game, Clockwork seemed to have taken an early lead, it wasn't that big of a lead up until near maybe around the 2-minute marker left. So definitely it was pretty even. They just need to make the proper execution on Just for the Halibut to take that lead.
Now, Tower Control and Black Belly Skate Park is going to be a very different feel from Walleye Warehouse, where Walleye was much more constrained, much more laterally oriented. Black Belly has a lot of room to move around, and even though the tower does have a path that leads it towards that chokehold along the half-pipe area on the sides of the map, there's still a lot of open space, a good amount of tiers of high terrain for either of these teams to be able to contest. And while I think that the Stingray still has a good amount of merit to this map for being able to control the tower itself and being able to sort of weave off the enemy team from it, I feel like the Inkjet in particular is going to be a pivotal special for both of these teams to make use of.
Yeah, definitely the Inkjet, especially from that center tower area, can't be really taken down. It's going to be too elevated of a position. If you don't have a really long-range weapon like a Charger or something like that, probably not going to be able to get it in that position. So definitely Inkjets are extremely strong here. We're going to get started really quickly now. We're getting into Black Belly Skate Park Tower Control Game 2. Clockwork is up 1-0 up against Just for the Halibut. Let's see what these teams elect to bring out into this game right now as we get started here. We do see that Little Sound DJ is bringing out the Dynamo Roller for his team right here. That is going to pack the Stingray. It's a little bit of an untraditional weapon, but it does get off that check for Stingray at least.
And just like that, we see Jolt with a Dynamo Roller of his own, the Gold Dynamo being able to contest and grab the initial point for Just for the Halibut as they try to bring things around and going for a trade with Perps. Purple managing to maintain the control, however, it's going to quickly fall to Hitzel, who's rocking his mini-sink.
Yeah, right there we do see Hitzel right there on tower. He's going to be the designated tower rider. Not a bad position because he can paint so much around him that might not be so easy for Just for the Halibut to get in on him. There goes another pick for Hitzel, moving this tower forward. This is probably going to be the lead for them as they get most of the members going down. And honestly, no real players in position to stop that checkpoint, so they're probably going to pass that as well.
And while Mini-Zink isn't particularly a spot that we see often in play, it's a little bit of a zealot for this weapon's utility and what it brings to a team, and I feel like its more speed-oriented control of Ink is a lot more suited to the composition of this team. I feel like it's going to allow Clockwork to maintain this hold on the tower that they have with the Stingray sitting on it. That's a bit of a fair stretch. DJ's going to ride that out in a very quick cap of Game 2.
Yeah, that was a very quick game right there. If it wasn't for the checkpoints, they would have ended that one much quicker right there. Clockwork showing complete dominance on that map mode combination, as it seemed like Perps was pretty much in the spawn of Just for the Halibut the entire game right there. They're pretty happy right there. Is a Clockwork feeling themselves, throwing up some finger guns, some thumbs up to the camera right there. So they got to be feeling good. Once again, they haven't lost the game in their wave.
Yes, they're looking pretty cheery. However, on the opposing side, things are looking a little stressful as Just for the Halibut's got to figure out some sort of game plan to reverse all of this momentum, because this is just a cascading crush right now as we came into Game 2. Now, they do have the opportunity to turn things around with Splat Zones on the Reef, but I think it remains to be seen if they're going to be able to, change things up enough to really impact the momentum that Clockwork brought into this set and how they're just furthering it.
Yeah, it seems like Clockwork has come into all of these games with a game plan. How strange they may seem. Not many teams would have came out with a double missile comp on Rainmaker, but it worked out for them because they had a game plan.
Right.
And then they came out with a Dynamo, another untraditional maybe method, but seems to be working out for them here. As long as you believe in this tactic that you're going to be pulling out there, should be working out pretty well for yourself in the end.
Right. Even if you do come to the battlefield with an untraditional game plan, if you really feel like it's going to work and you just sort of write it out without second-guessing yourself, it still has that opportunity. And even though the Dynamo was a non-traditional pick, we saw that there was a matching Dynamo on the opposing side, so maybe there is a lot of merit to that choice.
Yeah, both teams may be feeling the Dynamo on them. And even if you go back to Splatoon 1, on that map in particular, Black Belly Skate Park, Dynamo's always been strong there, so maybe after the recent buffs, teams are starting to feel that it can get back to that position. So maybe not the strangest pick anymore after all.
We'll see if we can see any more plays from the Dynamo later on in the tournament, but for now we have to see things as we go to Splatzones on the Reef for Game 3 and see if Just for the Halibut can turn things around for themselves.
Yeah, definitely need to try and come out with this one quickly. We do see the Dynamos coming out again, and this is actually not that bad because they can maybe control that top center bridge with that Dynamo, not allowing the other team to come in onto them, but while also painting underneath them. So not the worst pick on this map. We do see that's exactly what DJ is doing right there, trying to maintain that top bridge, but one of his players is going to go down. Doesn't seem like he's really contributing too much while the rest of his team's going down here.
Although it is worth noting just how much ink he's able to throw down. He's going to get splatted, but that's a lot of ink very quickly, and we're seeing it from the opposite side with Jolts as well. With all of that ink being able to come down, can be able to contest ink control very easily, but on that same note, building up a lot of special charge for establishing that super armor for the rest of his team.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier how Just for the Halibut kind of struggled when they didn't get that early lead. They've got it this game. They've got to work with it now, but it seems like Clockwork is coming back in them. A lot of pop-offs coming out from elsewhere in the venue as well, so a lot of exciting games here. It seems like there's a kind of a bloodbath right now going on around the zone. Seems like Just for the Halibut is going to take control of the zone as well, looking pretty good in this game.
Even though they managed to get the control back, it looks like Clockwork had very few points on the lead. Being able to put those penalty points on Just for the Halibut is going to give them a little bit more breathing room, give them enough time to assess the situation, see what changed, what allowed Just for the Halibut to take such a quick and dominating lead as we came into Game 3.
Yeah, right now, Clockwork's finally got maybe control of the center bridge right there, as well as maybe the zone just needs to paint it a little bit. Not really in favor of either team so far. Seems like DJ's getting pressured a little bit, but finally is going to be able to cap the zone from the help of the teammate right there. And now it seems like Clockwork's finally found their stride.
Now, the Golden Dynamo role has been a very interesting choice into this particular set because we've seen DJ fighting off against the opposing Dynamo roller a lot. It's been a lot of that mano-a-mano fight, and while both players have been able to provide super armor to their teams consistently now, it seems that they're only sort of fighting off against each other. It's very reminiscent of the traditional counterplay of, how a sniper can only fight a sniper. So these two sort of duking it out to each other, leading itself to essentially a 3v3 that right now it seems that Clockwork is pulling themselves together much more heavily for.
Yeah, so far it does seem like Clockwork's finally found their footing in this game here. We do see right there a pretty bad position for one of the players of Just for the Halibut. Going to get taken down by 3 members of Clockwork right there. Looking pretty good. All they need is a couple more picks. This is probably going to be the game, as there's not much time for Just for the Halibut to come back into this one.
However, Page does manage to pop off the inkjet just as a pop, Perps dropping down, and that's going to be that. Clockwork coming in from a dominating turnaround. Even though it looked like Just for the Halibut had that opportunity, it quickly got shut out.
Yeah, we didn't really see once Just for the Halibut got established early in that game. They were kind of defending from the center ground. They didn't really push up too strongly, so maybe that's what they have to look out for going into these next games. Maybe if they had gotten to better positions while defending, would have been able to hold it for a little bit longer, but unfortunately for them, Clockwork was able to figure them out really quickly and got DJ back into position, although got sent back to spawn.
And with that, Clockwork taking that 3-0, they're going to be moving themselves forward through their pools, and just like that, they had managed to go through without dropping a game. Very impressive on their half. See if they can maintain that later on into the tournament. Seems they're playing very well today. And hopefully they can maintain that against the other levels of competition they've got ahead of them.
Yeah, and just for the Halibut, they are going to be ending this pool at 2-1 right now. I believe that does get you to the top 24 cut, just probably at a lower seed. So they're still alive right now. Maybe need to just use a little bit of the time you have between this break coming up for them, that they need to just maybe look at a little bit of the video evidence that they could pull out really quickly and try and establish what exactly went wrong for them.
Right.